Welcome back to Sutton Hobby Farm. Today we're going to talk about feeding costs for goats. If you're looking to get goats, or maybe you only have a few, want to get some more, but you want to know how much it costs. Say hi, Buttercup. So how much does it cost to feed a goat? If you're looking for a straight answer, I can't give you one. We currently have 14 goats. They're all different shapes and sizes. So this is just going to be kind of a breakdown of what I have to do, and then maybe it'll show you what you would have to do. Who knows? Either way, it'll give you some kind of idea. There's a lot of variables. So one factor is how big are your goats. Not all goats are the same size. There's lots of different breeds of goats. Some eat more than others. Goats can vary. So I have a pretty crazy range of goats. Reba here's over 100 pounds. Then my littlest ones are in the 30-ish pound range because they're still babies. Another thing to consider is, where are you keeping them? If you have a very tiny property and you're planning on getting several, you're going to have to feed them constantly because there's nothing to graze. Sure, you're going to have a little bit of grass in the springtime. That will be gone very fast. And then you'll have mud and dirt and poo. So then you will have to transition into lots of grain and hay. So yes, where you keep your goats has a lot to do with how much you will have to feed them. The bigger the area, the less you will be feeding. Along with where you're keeping your goats, another thing is where you actually live. We live in the southern part of Illinois, and we have about 4-ish months of cold where there's no growing. So I have to prepare for that and make sure that I've got enough hay and feeding enough grain to cover these cold months so that the goats can thrive still. If you live in a much warmer climate, then the odds are you might not have to feed them ever if they are constantly foraging and you have adequate space and it's always green. You might not have to feed your goats. Lucky you. Now, if you are in a much colder climate, obviously you're going to have pretty high goat bill. So I don't know what kind of goats you're looking at getting and what you're planning to do with them, but it may not be cost effective to have goats in a super cold region. Each of our goats gets around a cup of grain a day. Around. It's not exact. So on top of the grain, they also get hay, obviously. Each day I go through about 3/4 of a bale. How much does hay cost? Well, another complicated question. I have a particular person that I buy from that's not too far from me, and he charges me $3.50 a bale, which is pretty cheap because if you jump online or go in the paper or anything, they're almost $4 a bale anywhere else. I've seen them as high as $6 a bale. So I'm pretty lucky in that aspect. And is it anything fancy? It's not pure alfalfa, clover, stuff like that. It's just cut grass, and that's really all they need. I'm not raising show goats here, so we don't get fancy. Now, another factor, I don't have a hay cutting machine or tractor or rake or baler to do any of that myself. If I did, I would be in a much better position as far as paying for hay goes. If you have property where you can actually utilize baling your own hay, then obviously you will have that cost cut from your bill as well. So in all, I do not think goats are expensive to feed. Obviously it varies. You can make them expensive to feed if you go about it that way. But in our case, they're a pretty affordable member of our farm. So if you are looking into goats, I highly recommend them. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.